What's going on, everyone? This is your Astrology Horoscope for July 10th, 2023. I'm astrologer Alex Skiles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Hope you all had a great weekend. This week is definitely intense. We have some big shifts coming on. Mars is moving into Virgo. The moon's going to cross the North Node in Taurus for the last time. And today, on Monday, is definitely some razor sharp energy. It's like the sharpest razor's edge you could, really you really got to be careful with. This is bringing up a lot of really intense emotions on a real personal level, and we got to really be weary and be cautious. I mean, that's why we use the astrology. That's why we analyze this to be prepared. And this is definitely a day you want to be prepared for, conversations that could really get over the top and kind of boil over. And, it brings out a lot of truth. But, this Mercury in Cancer opposing Pluto and Capricorn, I mean, we're at 29 degrees. Like, this is the final degree. So we've been feeling this coming on. Like, we've been feeling these discussions. We knew that these conversations were bound to be had, and that it was going to get to this place, and it's necessary because this is how we evolve. Through Pluto transits, that is how we evolve to the next stage of what we're going to be and what the world's going to look like. And this is definitely, a day where things can really boil over. I mean, this moon in Aries is going to be at 29 degrees. It's going to be building to a square to Pluto and Mercury. So there's a T-square going all day. So this is definitely some real intense conversations and emotions that are flaring up today. And it's necessary. But at the same time, it's like we want to navigate it in a way where we don't want to lose our power or give our power away or let our use of power get to dangerous places where it could get manipulative or psychologically intrusive. This is definitely a clash of power, when we have Mercury opposite Pluto. Words you say to people are definitely this is when every single word that you say to somebody else, you can't take it back. Like, these are words that you cannot take back. So you have to choose your words very carefully. And with this moon in Aries, it's very impulsive energy emotionally. And moon in Aries, it doesn't think about how it expresses its emotions. And definitely when it squares Mercury in Cancer, it's just, it's just a real a battle of just going head first without thinking and just really just like a waterfall. And this Pluto in Capricorn is cold as ice, right? So it's really a do or die energy. It's things that we must do, things that we must say, we have to say, even if it hurts, but we don't want to get into manipulative and psychological kind of deterioration. We want to definitely pause when confrontations come up or complex issues need to be discussed. This is definitely a time where we have to really try to be as patient as possible, because this moon in Aries, it's not patient. It does not think ahead. So we want to think ahead. If we can be conscious before we act and speak from our head, from our feelings, it would be wise. Today like this it's just, things can really get overboard emotionally, and definitely with Black Moon Lilith as well. In the mix, it's just really uncomfortable things and dark things that could really come up that just are nagging, and we have to face it. With this Pluto and Capricorn, it's we have to face this shit, and in order to rebuild what it's going to look like. So we're dealing with this 29 degrees of these cardinal signs. So it really is this like this is it. This is it with Pluto and Capricorn. Like, this is the last time we're also going to see Mercury in Cancer opposing Pluto and Capricorn. And this cycle has been going on for 15 years now. And this is the last time we're going to be really in this zone, and whatever words we're saying and conversations that we are having, like, these words are final. Like, you can't take back what you say. So choose what you say wisely. This is very intense. This is not an energy to really fuck around with, and this is where you uncover some really dark truths and some secrets, in a sense. Like, when Mercury is opposing Pluto, like, this is like real investigation. Like, investigation of a situation, like investigation of your unconscious, like an investigation of our emotions, especially with this Mercury in Cancer. Like, we are really uncovering some real stuff about emotional situations, and definitely where we've been uncomfortable, things we wanted to say, I mean, there's been a lot of positive energy here, but Mercury's moved away from the sun. So it's got to face Pluto now, because by this evening, going into tomorrow, Mercury's going to move into Leo. And this is going to bring up a lot of things with the Venus retrograde that we're about to come into. So, because it's going to meet with Venus as it's going retrograde. But we have to face whatever these difficult conversations are coming up, and this is final. Like, we're dealing with the final degrees of these cardinal signs. And when Mercury's opposite Pluto, it's like whatever words we are throwing out there, like, they are, you can't take them back. You don't want these words to be like throwing knives, because it could really get that way. And this moon's activating a T-square in Aries, like, it could really be that way. A real conflict. And we have to face conflict. Squares bring up a lot of challenges. It could bring up conflict. And those challenges and conflicts is really what gets us through to the good times, because we can't experience any light without going through hard times, So, like, this is definitely a challenge that we have to face today, and which is great. I mean, I think it's not going to resolve in a real, negative way. I think by this evening, which is actually really great, that the moon's going to come into Taurus, right? Like, the moon's going to come into Taurus. And I think this is really spectacular, because as that moon comes out of Aries at 29 degrees and it activates that T-square from Mercury to Pluto, once the moon moves into 0 degrees of Taurus and it hits this north node, like, we're going to be finding resolutions to whatever these difficult emotions and conversations that are going to come up today, because, like, definitely with this Mercury opposing Pluto as well, it's like, we don't want to hold these thoughts. These thoughts aren't going to be held in. That's the thing. Like, we can't hold these thoughts in anymore. And, when Mercury has to face Pluto, like, it has to face a death of something to be reborn, like, we're definitely at that place with this Mercury opposition here, that we have to face, like, the real depths of, the truth and what reality is. Capricorn rules our physical reality, and with Pluto there, like, it brings up a lot of the, more intense things about our physical world. But I think this evening, for sure, like, the moon is going to come into Taurus, and the moon's exalted in Taurus. The moon loves to be in Taurus. So it's almost going to be like, a sense of stability after we get through these difficulties that kind of starts setting in towards the evening, going into, as the sun's beginning to set. I mean, this is around 6 p.m. On the West Coast. So there is this like sense of stability that's going to start coming in, and this sense of like, all right, like I feel a lot better about this. I'm glad that we got to face it, you know? And this is the very last time. Like there's a lot of last times that we're gonna see today. This is the last time we're gonna see Mercury in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. It's the last time we're gonna see the Moon in Taurus crossing the North Node in Taurus for the next 18 years. And it's the last time we're gonna see Mercury opposing Pluto for the rest of our lives. So this is like, like I said, I said this last week. It's like these next 10 days, going into the 17th of July, once the nodes shift, it's like this is a lot of culminating, conclusive, final moments and final experiences and events that are taking place. That it's the curtains closing. The credits beginning to roll. Well, the credits aren't rolling yet. Like the movie's not over yet, but it's almost like this is a final scene here before the credits begin to roll. And this Moon in Taurus crossing this North Node, it's like, okay, like we know what we've manifested and what we brought in, and it's definitely hasn't been easy, like being able to face these difficult emotions and challenges, especially today, of what's coming up, because a lot is coming up to the surface. But definitely by this evening, like there is a more sense of stability and comfort coming in that I think is only possible by, facing what these things are, what these difficult things are. And this is where we're experiencing like, okay, like, we've brought all these things in, we've gathered the resources. We're feeling confident about what we brought in. And what is pretty important as well is that now Mars is in Virgo. It's left Leo. It's left Venus. They're in two different signs now. So Mars in Virgo is gonna trine over to this Moon and North Node in Taurus, and it'll make a sextile to the South Node. So, it's like once we really get through today and we're facing this Mercury opposite Pluto with the Moon and Aries squaring, it's like by the evening, like we're going to have the details, and we're going to know how to really like go after our destiny in a much more methodical, solid approach, without letting our emotions get the best of us. Because today we definitely might experience that for sure. And it might be one of these days too where like really intense emotions flare up, and by the evening, this Mars in Virgo and this Moon in Taurus, it's like, you know what, like maybe that was kind of silly. Maybe these emotions, that we let get the best of us, that was kind of silly. It's like, here's a plan. Here's a list of things that we can actually go after and check off the checks, because that's what Mars and Virgo does. It wants to like get shit done in a very orderly way, and it wants to plan for the future in a very methodical, orderly way. It wants to make a list and go after each little thing on the list, one by one, and check them off, And with the Moon trining Mars and Virgo, as Mars is, being welcomed into Virgo, it's like, this is a nice warm welcome to Mars coming into a new sign here. But not, but not like without its, emotional difficulties throughout the day. So like there is much more solidity coming in, after the turbulence, or volcano. It's like this evening, it's like the smoke is gonna settle. We're gonna feel much more stable and solid and where we're at, and just like, what, like we're feeling good about being able to face these challenges emotionally and find better ways to do that, to face these things that are difficult. Because this North Node, when it does come into Aries, it's like, it's gonna trigger a lot of wild stuff. So, like, with this moon in Taurus crossing the North Node, it's like we have all the information we need. Like, we have all the resources, whether it's physical or not. Like, we have what we need to really get ready to take on this new journey. Because it's not going to come without its bumps, as the North Node squares Pluto. And it will square Pluto at 29 for about, 14 days roughly. So, and it's just what we have to go through. And definitely today with this Mercury opposition to Pluto and the moon in Aries squaring, it's almost like, giving us a little insight to what that's going to look like and what that's going to feel. But definitely by the evening, when the moon crosses that North Node in Taurus, trining Mars, it's like, we can feel okay with that and be solid in that and be ready for it. Because that's what Taurus does. Like, it wants to gather things and get all it needs to, like, take on the journey. So this is definitely a super intense day, but these next couple weeks is going to be super intense, and really definitely going through August and September, like, it's going to be a pretty wild journey. We're going to have a lot of Uranus action and Venus action going on. Like, we got to expect the unexpected, and it's going to take us to places that are super exciting and, take us into the unknown. Uranus thrives in the unknown. So that's where we're headed. We're headed into the unknown. But we're doing it head first, with this North Node coming into Aries. Like, it's a head first, it's a nosedive. Like, we're diving into the water, and we're going to come out, and we're going to be totally fine. We're going to be totally okay. And today we're definitely going to be able to ground all this intensity by the evening. This Mars and Virgo, it's a whole new vibe. This Mars and Virgo is a whole new vibe. We've had Mars and Leo for, the past 2 months just about. And that Mars and Leo, it's just, it's over the top, wants to express itself just at the highest level, and wants to, wants to do this and make this and go here and just, do so many different things. Now it's like Leo has so many ideas, and it wants to create so many things and express itself in so many ways. But once we get into Virgo, it's like we can really, like, narrow down the best, most practical way to execute all that stuff. So now it's like all these wild, amazing ideas that we came up with while Mars was in Leo and it squared Uranus was like big, wild ideas that we never seen before coming in. Now it's like we're going to have the mental foresight and information to really go after all those things. And we want to really be methodical about how we approach that, whether it's just putting all the things in order or even just writing the things down that we want to go after and not getting overwhelmed by the whole picture. It's just like, all right, like, I'm going to check this one off first. I'm going to take care of this. And then once I do this, then I can get this done. But if I don't get this done, I can't do this. It's really that orderliness that Virgo is good at, but it can also drive people nuts, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's a whole new thing. So with this Mars trining the North Node and the Moon crossing the North Node, it's like we're cleaning up, we're cleaning things up, we're cleaning house, like we're ready to just clear a new space, a new environment, so we can be ready for when these nodes shift into Aries and Libra here. So, because it's a whole new journey we're coming into. So this is like the final scene, this week before we get to the 17th. And once we get through the 17th and the node shift, Venus is going to retrograde. So we are coming into a whole new reality here, a whole nother dimension, so to say. And these challenges that come up today with this, Mercury opposition to Pluto, like that's really what's going to give us the foresight to uncover the things that we need to start maneuvering in the right direction here. Because once we come into the North Node in Aries, like we got to be ready. We got to be ready to really be confident to take on our new path. And it's going to come down to the individual. This North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra is squaring Pluto. It's like so many people are going to be going in multiple directions, and we're going to feel like we're being pulled in multiple directions. And going through all this energy now, it's like we want to have all that we need in order and in place, and really like just understood in the mind to be ready for what this new journey is going to carry out to be. So yeah, interesting way to kick off the week. It's definitely not a boring day for sure. Venus is getting ready to make a quincunx to Neptune. So there's definitely a lot of, self-worth things that we didn't notice, or we just, wanted to put the blinders up towards, that are coming into our reality now too. And that's gonna happen 3 times as well. We're gonna get that a couple times. Venus is gonna, square Uranus 3 times, and then it'll make an in conjunction to Neptune 3 times before it goes into Virgo. It comes out of shadow at 28 degrees. Venus is gonna retrograde at 28 degrees. So yeah, we're just getting ready. Like we're getting ready for all of what's to come, because what's to come is going to be super intense, and it's super exciting, and new things are coming in. Like new things are definitely like getting ready to show up, especially coming into next spring with this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. And that's in the long term, in the long scheme of things, that's what we're really building towards. And with this Taurus energy, and what the North Node in Taurus taught us over the past 18 months with Uranus and Taurus, is that to build things of its highest value and to make things really worth something in the world, that it doesn't happen quickly. It's not a quick fix. And it takes time to make that real. Taurus makes shit real. It manifests anything it desires, but it takes time. And we've been really working towards that since January 2022. So by the time we get to April next year, like we're going to see that materialize, and definitely like these Pluto trying to wrap up here in Capricorn and these nodes squaring. It's like, we got to go through this intensity to get to that place. Because a lot of people in April next year who have been being patient and just working on their own shit, not getting caught up in just all the chaos and insanity that Neptune and Pluto is just really kicking up in the world on the larger frame of things. Because when we're talking about Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, like it's the outer realms. It's the furthest outer, and Uranus too. But it's the outer realms. But with Taurus and Venus and the second house, it's like, it's very personal stuff, and it's not concerned with, like, I just gotta focus on what I'm doing. I can't worry about all this other madness going on out here, whether it's issues that are outside of you in relationships, or issues outside of you in the world that you can't control. Like Taurus just is so stubborn in that way, where it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like I just got to keep trudging my path to manifest what I'm going to manifest. So that's what the North Node has taught us. And definitely by this evening, with the moon crossing the North Node for the last time in Taurus, like, we're feeling that on a very deep level today, you know. It's like, if you've been trying to get a quick fix with that South Node in Scorpio, or you just think things are going to happen quickly, or, you know, trying to scheme to get things to happen and not like making sure that value is held at its highest, you know, worth, and those things don't work out. But if you've been trying to really create and manifest things and put things together and, you know, expressing, you know, what is worth, you know, moving forward with, and how to do that, who to do it with, you know, it's that slow and steady that's really going to get us there by next spring. So, yeah, hope you all have a great Monday. It's gonna be a wild one, you know, because all morning we're gonna feel that extreme polarizing tension in our minds and in our feelings, and definitely, like, you know, it's conflicting, you know, with the Mercury and Cancer opposing Pluto and Capricorn, because it's like our minds are super emotional, but this Pluto and Capricorn is just super ice cold, and sometimes, you know, well, a lot of the times, like, what it comes down to is learning how to balance, you know, being, um, you know, non-emotional, and just being able to trudge through the things and to get down the path and get up the mountain. But, you know, we gotta have a balance of being able to express our emotions. You know, you don't want to, you know, get too cold about things, and, you know, people just think that you're, you know, you don't care, or you aren't capable of expressing your emotions. Like, today is also a day of that coming up too, where, you know, it's like, maybe you're the one who's very, very sensitive and very emotional, and you have a lot to say, and you might be coming up against a wall of something that's just like not reciprocating those emotions, you know. Uh, but it's necessary to reflect that back to one another, because there is that middle ground that we have to get with these oppositions. And with this, it's being able to balance our emotions within our mind, but also know when to fucking have to, like, not let our emotions get the best of us and just keep pushing. So, we got the world card up right. So, this is definitely bringing up a lot of this fixed energy with this, you know, North Node in Taurus, this Uranus in Taurus, this Venus and Mars and Leo, the South Node in Scorpio. I mean, there's so much fixed energy, and there's so much stubborn, you know, kind of energy. I mean, these cardinal signs also get very stubborn, but definitely, like, this is where the power lies, you know. This is when, like, this is where the power lies. So this is definitely, like, getting to the higher realms of consciousness and amplifying the higher realms of consciousness of, like, you know, like, we do have a higher destiny in the world, and that's what this North Node and Moon, you know, conjunction today for the last time in Taurus, I think, is really bringing up. It's like, you know, like, we've spent the last 18 months creating things that really do serve a higher destiny in the world, and this is a moment where we know our worth, we know our value, and we're not going to shift from that. And we've experienced when we do let our guard down, from our self-worth, or knowing what our value is, or maintaining our value, that, you know, like, we get sucked into, you know, a dark place. So this is definitely, like, reminding us that, hey, you know, like, we have to maintain that stoic energy of, like, hey, if you're not gonna treat me for what I'm worth, or give me what I'm worth, like I have to, you know, keep trudging my own path. You know, if we want to manifest or create as a unit, as a team, in a very Aquarian way. It's just very much this world card as well. Like we have to really like hold that value and maintain that value and not get sucked down into that Scorpio South Node of just, a quick fix or just getting sucked into our unconscious behavior patterns, that Pluto and the South Node Scorpio really can bring up here. So we're definitely going to be seeing that a lot today with this Mercury opposing Pluto. But definitely by the end of the day, there's some really solid resolutions. And by tomorrow, the moon's going to conjunct Jupiter. And like there's a lot of real abundance and manifestation that's coming in. And it's definitely not going to come for free. So today, we're facing these challenges in order to really bring that stuff in because that's what's coming. So I hope you all have a great Monday and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.